Welcome to Eerie Bites of History, your daily serving of strange bites of the past. Today, we have animals that circle the moon, a hobbit steps into legend, and politics turn deadly at dawn, all of which happened on September 21st. Let's begin. On September 21st, 1968, the Soviet spacecraft Zond 5 came back through the Earth's atmosphere after a 6-day journey that made history. Inside the scorched capsule were two unlikely pioneers, tortoises. Along with seeds, plants, and microorganisms, they had been sent out on a daring mission to orbit the moon and return. For nearly a week, they floated weightlessly, exposed to the deep space environment, cosmic radiation, silence, and the uncertainty of whether life could endure so far from home. Then came the most dangerous test of all, the fiery plunge through Earth's atmosphere. Against all odds, the capsule splashed down safely in the Indian Ocean, and once it was opened, the tortoises were alive. A little lighter, perhaps, but very much survivors. This marked the first time that living creatures had traveled around the moon and returned to tell the tale, proving that life could survive in the perilous conditions of space. Their success laid crucial groundwork for the human missions that would soon follow. The thing that stands out the most about this story to me is, why tortoises? In the race for human space travel to the moon, sadly animal testing happened before the first humans took orbit, which would take place later that year with the Apollo 8 mission. I wonder if they ever sent a raccoon to space. Maybe it's a good thing that they haven't. On September 21st, 1937, a quiet book release in London marked the beginning of one of the greatest journeys in modern literature. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit arrived in bookstores. A tale first spun as a bedtime story told to his children, it began as a simple adventure of a reluctant hobbit named Bilbo Baggins, and soon captivated readers with a blend of whimsy, danger, and a fully realized world of dwarves, wizards, trolls, and dragons. Critics raised its charm, and ordinary readers passed it from hand to hand, not realizing they were holding the sparks of a much larger legend. The book's success would lay the foundation for The Lord of the Rings, an epic that would redefine fantasy storytelling for generations. But The Hobbit itself remains timeless. Printed in multiple languages, its themes are universal, its characters beloved by millions, and over 80 years later, the story of Bilbo's journey out of his comfortable hobbit hole and into a wider, perilous world continues to resonate. Did you know that before writing his books, Tolkien had invested countless hours into creating his languages like Elvish, and he needed to create a world to give them a place to exist? Imagine being that passionate to create a complex world that is still celebrated by fans across the globe almost a century later. On September 21st, 1809, two of Britain's most powerful statesmen stepped into the grassy expanse of Punty Heath, pistols in hand. Robert Stewart, Viscount Castlereagh, the Secretary of War, and George Canning, the Foreign Secretary, had clashed bitterly over military strategy during the Peninsular War. Their argument grew so fierce and their reputation so wounded that in the code of honor of the time, there seemed to be only one solution: a duel. At 10 paces, the two men turned and fired. Castlereagh's shot struck true, hitting Canning in the thigh and dropping him to the ground. The wound wasn't fatal, and the duel ended there, but the spectacle of two senior ministers attempting to settle political disputes with pistols shocked the government and public alike. Both men eventually returned to high office, but their reputations carried the lasting stain of that morning's violence. Even now, the event seems almost surreal. Leaders entrusted with the direction of the nation's security risked killing one another over pride and policy. It's a reminder that politics, for all its grand speech and formal debates, has always been vulnerable to human ego, and history often hinges on moments where reason gives way to passion. Could you imagine dueling that way to settle your disagreements? Even if this may have ended with no lives lost, it wasn't uncommon for duels to end with much more grave results, ending literally in a grave. Like your history snack-sized? Drop us a comment with your favorite bite and subscribe. Join us daily for your eerie dose of the past.